Cool, we are live. I think. There it is. Hey everybody. So, if you watched my last video, you saw me go in completely cold on this animation program, CACANi, and just kind of intuitively try to find my way around, and just completely cold like that, we were able to make a very simple run cycle. So I did my homework. In the last few days, I've been watching all the tutorials on the CACANi YouTube. They're pretty helpful. You could stand to be a little more interactive if there was a person speaking or actually going through the things. I think it would help. But they're pretty helpful. They explain all the tools, all the new features with the updates. I learned a lot, and I think that I am now ready to tackle actually animating one of our shots here from Blood Fury. So I'm going to try to do that. Drop down my tablet real quick. Okay. First things first, always save your project immediately, just in case something happens. You'll have it in the right spot. Find mine. Blood Fury, animation. We'll call this, I don't know. Let's call it animation test 01 for now. We can rename it later. Cool. So the first thing I need to try and do is see if I can bring in my animatic for us to draw over. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your Friday night. A lot of you are probably getting ready to go out. So if you're hanging with me while you're doing that, I appreciate it. If you're like me, have a nice night inside by yourself after a long week. So Pabst Blue Ribbon, classic animation fuel. What's happening here? File, import. Nothing's happening. That's not good. I wonder why. Open. Let's see if I can. Nope. I need to import. That's important. I'm so funny. I should stick to animating. Alright, maybe I have to see the window. Maybe there's like a files window. There's a lot of those. My navigation window. My fill window. Layers window. Just somehow different than the other layers window I have, I guess. What is this? My timing window. My light box window. Layers. I don't understand. Why can't I import anything? Alright, well, it's times like these we go to the internet and see if there's an answer. CACANi 1.2 import video. Oh. I may not be able to import video. That would be a huge issue. Looks like they have all their tutorials on their website as well, which is just cacani.sg. Oh, they even have sample files you can download and play with. That's nice. We got a nice website. It doesn't answer my question though. Let's try this. How to import video in CACANi. Can I? Yep. have audio importing, but it doesn't look like they have video. That's an issue. Can I import an image? Oh, they have forums. Come on, forum. Sorry guys, I tried to set up everything as best I could before I started this. I was going to just import it first, but I thought you guys would want to see the import process. Alright, so it says I can right-click on the frame. Actually, we can just have this like. Oh. Well, I can pull in images, as you guys saw there. Let's do this one more time. Right-click on the frame, load image, sequence. I'm just going to bring in a bunch. I have to find them. No. No. The importance of good file. No. I have some of the images here. The ones I need. Some of them. Not all of them. I suppose we could just animate a different shot than the one I had originally planned. Shoot, I wanted one that I had storyboarded so I wouldn't waste a bunch of time. Okay. You guys are wondering what I keep looking up at. It's my second monitor. I've got my music playing there and some stuff. I just closed one of my windows. So I'm streaming on Twitch. If you're not watching me on Twitch, you may be watching me on Facebook Live. Or on YouTube, because I'm going to post these videos eventually. Alright, let's figure this out. We will do... This is the shot right after the shot I was going to animate. So let's see. I can only pull in one image at a time, even though I clicked sequence. Interesting. I don't really know which of these to use. I guess this one. I don't really know what that was just asking me, but... Okay. I need a new frame, buddy. My insert frame button. There'll be a bunch of these, so I might as well just do this. Okay, what's the next image? That's going to take way longer than it should have. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I keep talking into my hand. If anyone's curious, I'm listening to Jonathan Colton tonight. I've been on a big Jonathan Colton kick lately. So I've been doing a lot of nerdy things, like watching YouTube videos of people playing video games. Why is this across all of them? Which layer is it on? It's just like... Interesting. Okay, I'm doing this wrong. Let's try over. Clear image. There we go. Load image. Let's go back. I guess you can bring in multiple images on top of each other, which isn't good. You have to be careful to just pull in the one you want. It's nice that it automatically labels this layer as reference. It knows if you're pulling in images, you're using it as a reference. I wonder if that's an issue if you're trying to pull in previously done artwork, but doing that would probably limit you greatly anyway. You probably wouldn't want to pull in outside artwork because you wouldn't have all the functionality you would have with these vector lines and bones that you have. That one, did I do that twice? Cool. You guys are getting a little sneak peek here at one of the scenes from the pilot. It's already storyboarded out. Alright, boys and girls, let's delete these frames. We don't need them. Alright, and here we have our shop. So it's sort of Samurai Jack, 70s exploitation style split screen here. Here I have our protagonist Mel, some action lines in the background. A shocked soldier who's just failed to land his punch. She grabs his arm, stomps on his foot, he screams. She starts beating the ever-living crap out of him. He was not ready for that. What happens when you piss off a woman like Mel? So here's what we're gonna do. I guess we're gonna start with Mel. Let's add a new layer. That's this, right? I have a bunch here. We'll do a new drawing layer, I think. And we're gonna start drawing Mel. So here's our pencil tool. Let's see if I can hover with my pointer as opposed to my stylus. There you go. So we have something called invisible stroke mode, which will connect everything, even if the lines aren't connected. And that helps you with coloring later on. It will, however, leave an invisible stroke instead of connecting the lines physically. Let me show you here. It's easier to show you the detail. So let's zoom in a bit. So let's say if I was doing my hand, grabby hand. I've already forgotten where all the items are. Here we go. Okay, move this over. Here you can see I have some lines that aren't connected. So let's say I was going to do this exactly how it is here, where the lines are not connected, but I wanted her hair to continue to be completely colorable. Let's finish here real quick. Okay. So you can see here, I'll show you if I make her invisible. You can see that right here they're not connected. They may not be connected in some other places as well. See, the rest of them connected automatically, but right here we've got a nice big open spot. So what I could do here, theoretically, what I should be able to do is fill this without it mattering. It's not working. Okay, let's figure out why. Let's hover over these so we can see what they mean. Cross layer, self layer, linear. So we want a self layer. So one of the issues here is it's not connecting. Let's see, show gaps, show invisible, and hidden strokes. Oh, okay. I'm dumb. So I just made a whole page of hidden strokes, which is dumb. I shouldn't have done that. So let's try this again. We're going to undo everything we just did. Okay. So let's draw again. Won't have to be connected. What's nice is it kind of auto-connects some of the stuff for you. And it even has a feature that will let you connect. Where is it? It's not over here right now. But there's a feature it has that will let you connect things automatically. You can kind of see how I just did it there. How it will highlight the line if I want a continuous line. I just have to turn on the mode. Okay, so there's a bunch here that's not connected. What I can do is I can go to my invisible, and I can connect them invisibly. What else is here? Those orange dots are telling me where I have open lines. So I'm actually... Where else can I connect? I guess I can connect here. I'm going to have a weird shape here, but I don't like that. Let me just do this here, like that. Okay, so if I show those hidden lines again, you can see kind of where everything is. And now I should be able to fill just this layer. Boom! Got a nice fill going on here. It's all black, which won't be in the original. But that's kind of a nice feature. Let's see if I can put on a different color so you can kind of see it in contrast with the lines. My color picker. There we go. So her hair is orange, so we're going to do that. I'm going to fill all these spots. Get rid of the invisible. Get rid of the reference. You can kind of see here. Let's back up a bit. See how that works, how the fill feature works. It's really nice. It's going to make coloring all this a lot easier down the line. Okay, I'm going to do everything. Let's actually start animating. I'm not going to talk very much, so I will turn my music up so you guys have something to listen to. I didn't save any of that. So this is exact. Oh! Oh my god. Alright, well here's where we find out how good CACANi's restore systems are. Oh, I really hope that saved something. Nothing. It saved nothing. Shit. Well, I still want to see how that tween looks, so we're just going to do it over. There's nothing else to do. Yeah, guys, well, I've been doing this for a while now. I think we're going to call it a night here. I'm going to save this. I'll look up the tutorials, and I will check out exactly what's going on. I'm going to look at the forums. I don't think the tutorials are going to answer my question. See if anyone else is having this issue and sort of how they solved it, because I'm fairly happy with the drawing we have here. I'd like to continue to make it work, figure out the motion a little more. It's, you know, this is very quick. This is not final by any means, but good morning, everybody. As you can probably tell, the lighting in here has changed. I'm wearing a different shirt. That's because it's been a day or two since I started this video. If you've been watching up to this point, then you saw that I was having a little trouble figuring out a few things, but I've taken the last couple days to play with the program and sort of meditate on the issues I was having. And I think I've figured a couple things out, so I want to share that with you. I want to end this video on a positive note, where we solved the problem rather than just leaving it open-ended. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you why we were having so much trouble predicting in-betweens last time, and also coloring. The in-betweens are the bigger thing, since that's sort of the whole point of this program. So I'm going to kind of show you what I ended up doing. Previously, I was just drawing everything on a single layer, sort of the way you would do in traditional pencil on paper 2D animation. And what I found was happening was that the program was having difficulty predicting where things should go. Some of it was because I would use a different amount of strokes in each picture, so it couldn't predict which strokes were meant to go together and which were not. Some of it was because I would draw in different orders. One of the things this program does is it remembers the order in which you drew the strokes and the direction in which you drew the strokes, which helps it predict how the in-betweens will go. And that was just sort of a user error thing. Like I said before, this is a Japanese program. Their tutorials are helpful, but are kind of generic, and so when you get into specific problems, there's a lot more help on the forums, but for the most part, you're going to have to do what you'll have to do with any program, and that's just play with it and figure it out and try to think constructively about what you're doing. So one of the things I noticed they were doing a lot of the tutorials, though they didn't point it out, was just kind of putting things on different layers the way you would in Flash. And I've decided to do that. As you can see here, I have the body on one layer, the right arm on one, the hair, the head, and the left arm all on separate layers. And this is just really because the way the predictive in-between works is horizontally here on this timeline. So if this in-between frame here only has to predict the arm, it's a lot more probable that it will be accurate. And it doesn't really affect my drawing that much. It takes all of a second to add a new layer and to draw on it instead. If you use Photoshop or Illustrator or any Adobe program, you're used to this. Anyway, so I did that, and it seemed to help a lot. One of the things I've noticed too is sometimes you just have a complex shape. And one of the complex shapes I have here is this arm, because it's not just bending, it's also twisting. If you can see here, the elbow is, let me unlock it so I can actually point. So the elbow here is facing us here, and so it goes in a little bit where the forearm muscle bulges out. But it starts to turn immediately so that the elbow ends up on top of the arm by the time it's down here. And I was really having trouble with that. So what I ended up doing was I just drew this in between myself. And I think that is an important thing to remember when using CACANi, is that it's not perfect. It's meant to make your life easier, but it's not meant to solve all your problems for you. If it was going to do that, there'd really be no point in having an artist. And so I think part of the balance as we move forward will be knowing when to use the in-betweens and when to just say, okay, I can draw this quicker and do that, because it's really all about making the process as quick and painless as possible. Okay, cool. So I don't think I actually did any of the coloring here on screen. I think I did all of that while I was trying to figure things out, just trying to make it nice. And as you can see, they did a pretty good job for the most part, but I was having issues here where I wouldn't go all the way to the line. It's missing here. I believe earlier I was trying to add white to her face markings. Yeah, and it just won't let me. It did a little bit here, but for whatever reason this area is struggling. If I take it off the single layer and go to multiple layer tool, it still doesn't work. The gradient, I don't want to use that. I don't want a gradient on this. And that was really stumping me for a while. It was doing weird things. Let's see if I can find one. Here's one where it's like, it's just predicting completely incorrectly here. And I couldn't figure out why. I couldn't figure out why. And then it sort of dawned on me that there are different types of drawing tools here. There's a normal stroke, there's something called an invisible stroke, and a hidden stroke. And a normal stroke is the only one that you will actually see in the final product. Let me make these invisible and start a new cell here for you guys so that I can demonstrate what I'm talking about. Oops. I want a new cell. I just missed. I want a new cell with a new drawing layer. Okay, cool. Let me save. Okay, cool. So if I'm going to make a circle, you're going to see the whole circle here. Whereas I believe is this the invisible or the hidden? I always mix them up. The invisible stroke, you can see it in this sort of orange pattern, but if I turn off this, you can't see it at all, which is how it'll appear in the final animation. And this is used to create vector-based shapes that can be filled easily. But if there's a reason you wanted to leave an open-ended stroke, say you were doing some sort of cross-hatching, or just stylistically you don't like closed lines in your animation, you could use that. And then this one, the hidden one, is similar. You can draw and it'll do a similar thing where it'll close, but it also won't be visible in the final animation. And these two are slightly different, and I'm going to show you how real quick. Let me get rid of all of these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw shapes that are incomplete. So let me draw, I don't know, let me draw like a U. I'm going to draw 3 U's. Oops. See, and this is how easy it is to be on the wrong stroke. I do this all the time where I start drawing in hidden or in invisible, and that's really what led to my issue with the last, with cell shading earlier. Or filling, rather. Okay, so I have my 3 U's here, and here I'm just going to fill with a normal stroke. Okay? Here I'm going to fill with an invisible stroke, and here I'm going to fill with a hidden stroke. Okay? And then we're just going to use this fill can. Let's pick, I don't know, a nice red. And we'll see. When you have a completely closed shape, it fills, no problem. Same with when you have an invisible stroke, no problem, right? The stroke closes the shape. The hidden stroke doesn't. I haven't entirely figured out what the purpose of the hidden stroke is just yet. Because if you can't fill, I'm not really sure what it does. But let me zoom in here. So stylistically, if you like your closed shapes, you can do that. But if you're someone who likes to have sort of just colors and you're not as much of a line-oriented artist, you can use these hidden strokes. Or what I ended up doing, oops, that's not it, was I would use those invisible strokes to close these shapes that were behind other shapes. And that's because sometimes your stroke will show through the color if your layers aren't organized properly. And it's just sort of easier for me, the way I think, to have invisible strokes. It just kind of cuts down on the possibility of any sort of line work that you didn't intend to be there. And so that's what was happening. So I actually started redrawing here, adding a little more detail and using my strokes a little more consciously. And it's been working a lot more. Here I just have a single shape of her body. But yeah, that kind of solved the problem of coloring for me. One more thing I want to show you guys. Let me get rid of all this. Is this interesting fill tool. So you have the option to fill either a single layer or multiple layers. I'm going to kind of show you how that works. Oops, I'm using the wrong stroke again. Okay. So here's not a very good square. Let's make sure it's closed. Here's an open square and an open square, and again we're going to do one with the invisible line, one with the hidden line, and then we're just going to do these, like, we're going to do circles up in the corners, closed circles, to sort of demonstrate what I'm talking about in terms of multiple layer fills versus single layer fill. I think it's closed. I guess we'll find out in a second. Okay, so, oh, these are all the same layer. I actually need to put these on separate layers. So let me add a new drawing layer, and I'm going to lock the one under it to make sure I'm not drawing on the wrong thing. And then here we'll draw circles in the top corner. Oof, when I'm zoomed out this much, it doesn't, the predictive properties are a little off. Okay, got my 3 circles. So one of the things I can do, just get a nice, oops, I don't want that on the stroke. I'm doing all kinds of things I don't want to do. I want the stroke black, I want this, let's make a nice gold. Yeah, okay. Go up here to the single layer fill, and my layer is locked. Let me select it. And I'm probably, yeah, so these dots tell you when something's not closed. And even though it looks closed, because it's a vector and it zooms in forever and ever. What is this? I can't even select this. What? What is this nonsense? Did I draw this on a crazy other layer? What did I do? Yoink. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, so these need to be connected so I can fill. There we go. And I made this weird shape because I started fucking with the vectors. But anyway, you can do that, and then I can take a red, and if I select the layer above it, I can fill just that, and it does the fill on just the single layer. Now let's take a green, and we're going to change the fill to the multi-layer fill, and you can see that here because it has 2 squares, one over the other, denoting the layers. And that goes between the 2, and it reads every layer in the cell as a single drawing. And what that kind of lets you do is, if you have overlapping shapes like this, and you want, for some reason, each section to be a different color, you can do that. It's even reading this little bit here, so maybe like yellow. Okay? Now, again, for some reason, it doesn't work with the hidden lines. Works with that line just fine, because that's a closed circle, but I can't do any sort of fill whatsoever with the hidden lines. Okay? That's kind of how the fill tool works. I'm someone who likes color, so I tend to color as I go in my animations. Not frame by frame so much, but once I have a motion or a shot done, I like to color it. I like the way it looks. Especially early on, when you're giving samples to producers and investors, it's a good idea to have things look as finished as possible. And then you can just kind of work from there however you want. So from this point on, I've got about an hour before I have to eat breakfast and start getting ready for work. So I'm just going to turn up the music. I'm not going to talk. And I'm going to let you guys watch me work. That's just my concept. So, as you can see, we haven't made a whole lot of progress today in terms of final output, but we have made a lot of progress in terms of learning how to do exactly what we mean to do. One of the things I learned along the way is that when you have a keyframe set and you've set up a second keyframe and you're drawing, it does, so long as you have this direction icon selected, it'll let you know what order you need to draw your strokes in and what direction in order to allow it to read and generate the in-betweens. And that was a huge help. As you can see, we had very little trouble filling the color in afterwards. We did have to do a little cleanup. The in-between generation seems to not connect the lines as nicely as it could, but honestly, having to go through and alter a few points versus having to draw 5 frames is a small hassle. So, we're continuing to move forward on Blood Fury. We have some meetings coming up this week, and if all those according to plan, we'll have some news to tell you guys. So please stay tuned. Keep checking out these live feeds and videos, and follow our Instagram, follow our Tumblr, follow our Facebook. It's at Blood Fury Series. Go check out the website, bloodfuryseries.com. If you're interested in seeing this get made, please, please, please pledge a donation and follow us on our social media, because if we don't get our pledges and our social media up as high as we can, it's hard to convince investors that we are a viable product. So really, what we need to show them is enthusiasm from the people who enjoy what we're trying to make. Thanks again, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you around. Take care.